Hello there, welcome to my views and news. Four new stories for you. Firstly, it seems that Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki has launched his successor. Who will replace Isaias Afwerki, or who Isaias Afwerki wants to replace him? Isaias Afwerki's son was seen in Egypt yesterday. Secondly, viewers, a Sudanese general yesterday accused Tigray fighters and Islamic Liberation Front of Eritrea. What happened? Who is this general? Thirdly, it seems the Sudanese military has recorded a major victory in the fight against RSF in Sudan. Strategic city, capital of a regional state, came under Sudanese military control, Sudan Shield Forces control yesterday. And lastly, why is Ethio Telecom extending the deadline for share sale? Is it because it did not receive the response, the attention which it was hoping to receive, people not showing interest in buying Ethio Telecom shares? Let's start with. Firstly was Eritrea. People want to know who will replace Isaias Afwerki. What is Isaias Afwerki's succession plan? Obviously, one day he'll have to go. No one can be in power forever. Kings, dictators, democratically elected leaders all have to go, and people replace them. Those leaders who build countries, generally they build institutions. They don't build individuals, they build institutions, so that institutions make decisions and people, individuals come and leave. The stability is not affected. But in most parts of Africa, we know that individuals are powerful. So they plan their succession and generally they groom their kids from childhood. They want their sons and daughters to take their place, whether through election or through other means, but they want their families to run the country. Yesterday, I showed you pictures of Jihan Hassan, Hassan Sheikh's daughter. This 23-year-old Jihan was seen in Egypt yesterday, part of Somalia's delegation, which has been holding talks with the Egyptian military delegation about new peacekeeping mission in Somalia. Jihan is just a girl with no military experience, but she's part of the high-level meetings, security meetings. Why? Because obviously Hassan Sheikh wants his daughter to have exposure. He would like his daughter to replace him one day. So, on the one hand, we saw Hassan Sheikh's daughter in Egypt. And on the other hand, we saw Isaias Afwerki's son in Egypt yesterday. Isaias Afwerki's son, Abraham Afwerki, has been in charge of Isaias Afwerki's office. We never saw him very active in diplomacy. He was being groomed at home by Isaias Afwerki. Internal affairs were being controlled by Abraham. Still, we don't know who will succeed Isaias Afwerki. I think this year a Congress, unprecedented Congress of PFDJ is expected to be held. People say that maybe at this Congress Isaias Afwerki will make a decision about his successor. Not clear, but Abraham Afwerki's launch in diplomatic field is very telling. It just indicates that Isaias Afwerki is now definitely grooming his son to be his successor. Abraham Afwerki was seen sitting behind uh, Eritrean Foreign Minister Usman Saleh yesterday. We know that yesterday, Eritrean Foreign Minister, Somalia's Foreign Minister, Egyptian Foreign Minister, they held a meeting. And after that, they held a press briefing too. While they were meeting, behind Usman Saleh, Afwerki's son, Abraham Afwerki, was sitting taking notes of the meeting. Why did Isaias Afwerki send his son to Egypt? Either the president wants his son to have exposure, diplomatic exposure, he wants his son to know what is happening in the region, or he does not trust Usman Saleh. By the way, Yemane Gabriab used to be the main man in Ethiopian foreign ministry. He was an advisor to the president, but basically he was running all the affairs of the foreign ministry. Even Usman Saleh was not as powerful as Yemane Gabriab was. And Yemane, I think, has not been well. Some health issues he's facing. And he has not been part of Eritrean president's delegations recently. It seems that Isaias Afwerki now wants his son Abraham Afwerki to accompany Usman Saleh. So we'll see in coming months, will Abraham accompany Usman Saleh on Usman Saleh's next visits to other countries or not. But it seems that now Isaias Afwerki has decided to launch his son to get the required exposure to be the leader of the country. Will Abraham be accepted by Eritreans, by Eritrean military, by PFDJ? That's another question which we can have a look at in some separate videos. Secondly, viewers, Sudanese journal accused Tigray fighters and Islamic Liberation Front of Eritrea in an audio message yesterday. Hamdan Dagalo is the name of the man who is heading Rapid Support Forces. Rapid Support Forces and Sudanese military have been fighting for over a year now in Sudanese deadly civil war. Hamdan Dagalo was put under sanctions by US last week. Hamdan Dagalo, in an audio message, accused Tigray fighters and Islamic Liberation Front of Eritrea of supporting Sudanese military against RSF. Hamdan Dagalo in the past to accuse Tigray fighters and TPLF. In the past, he used the word TPLF. This time he mentioned Tigray fighters. Last time, I think last year, when he accused TPLF of being involved in the war in support of military against RSF fighters, Tigray government issued a statement. It rejected RSF's claims. He accused Islamic Liberation Front of Eritrea of backing Sudanese military. I don't know about the Islamic Liberation Front of Eritrea, but know that Eritrea is definitely training, arming Sudanese military, Darfur-based groups, East Sudan-based groups against RSF. It's not a secret. A few days ago, I did a video. I shared with you contents of an interview given by a Sudanese military commander from Darfur, and he openly said that Eritrea is providing weapons, providing logistics to his fighters in Darfur, and that Eritrea is training Sudanese fighters. It's not a secret, by the way, but government supporters don't want to know the truth because they blindly support Eritrean government. But everyone knows in the region now that because Sudanese side is admitting that they are receiving support from Eritrea. It's not a secret. What is the Islamic Liberation Front of Eritrea? I think basically RSF chief is saying that religious elements in Eritrea are supporting the Sudanese military. RSF wants to paint Sudanese military as a hardcore extremist Islamist force, and it portrays itself as a non-extremist fighter group. Though the birth of RSF was the birth of an ethnic militia, basically, when it was used by Umar al-Bashir in ethnic war in Darfur. RSF suffered a defeat in Sudan yesterday. RSF lost control of Wad Madani. Sudanese military, Sudan Shield Forces took full control of Wad Madani yesterday. Wad Madani is the headquarters of Jazeera state in Sudan. It's very strategic. Now it means that RSF's future advance towards Kassala, towards Gedaref has been stopped. RSF was pushed out of Damascene too a few months ago. Now it is out of Jazeera state, out of Wad Madani. It means that RSF likely advanced by RSF towards Eritrea, towards Ethiopia, stopped. RSF fighters now cannot receive any support from Ethiopia, it seems. Eritrea has been trying to keep RSF fighters away from its borders, so it has managed to push RSF towards Khartoum, towards Darfur. And from Jazeera state, from Gedaref, from Kassala, I think we could see now a massive push towards Darfur. So you'll see now pressure upon Darfur in Western Sudan too. So Darfur is far away from Wad Madani, but Wad Madani is strategic. It is agricultural hub as well. So it's a loss definitely for RSF fighters. Jubilation celebrations in Sudan's military controlled areas since yesterday. People out on the streets celebrating Sudan's military's win. So RSF chief, after the defeat, accused Tigray fighters. Tigray, as a regional government, TPLF as a political party, might not be involved in Sudanese civil war, but there are Tigray fighters in Sudan. There are Tigray refugees in Sudan. There are ENDF, Tigrinya-speaking members in Sudan who got asylum in Sudan. So they can be used by Sudanese military against RSF fighters. I have two clips for you. First one shows people celebrating in Shindi, Sudan, celebrating RSF's victory in Jazeera state. The second clip is an audio talk of Hamdan Dagalo. He is accusing Islamic Liberation Front of Eritrea and Tigray fighters of supporting Sudanese military. This clip is in Arabic. Watch the two clips.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أبطال وأشاوي قوات الدعم السريع في كل ربوع السودان. في كل الجبهات. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ربنا يتقبل شهدانا ويشفي الجرحى. يا إخواتي الكرام، الحرب فر وكر، الحرب جولات. اليوم خسرنا جولة ولكن لم نخسر المعركة. إنما أمره إذا أراد شيء أن يقول له كن فيكون. هم حربهم حرب جبن. أول ما بدأوا انقلابهم أدونا 4 أيام. الآن من قاتل فيهم 21 شهر، وحنقاتلهم 21 سنة، وحتتغير الموازين بإذن الله. الآن شنو اللي خلاهم ينتصروا؟ الخلاهم ينتصروا شنو؟ التفوق الجوي، طيران، اليوشن، الانتينوف، الميج، ده كله بيضرب من له أكثر من 21 شهر. ولكن الآن دخلت المسيرات الإيرانية وفي مسيرات أخرى. هم بيجوا نضاب بيصوروا بس، ما رجال بيقاتلوا. وغير كده مستعينين بالتجراي قوات، وعندنا ما يثبت حتى قائدهم اتقتل في معركة الدندر، والآن صورة موجودة. طيب، والآن خاشين معهم التجراي أجانب، جنسيات كثيرة جدا. الآن القتال على الأرض في 3 أيام إحنا بنقاتل في تجراي، ما يسمى الجبهة الإريترية الإسلامية لتحرير إريتريا، ديل بيقاتلوا معهم الآن. وبعد ذلك حركات الارتزاق، طيران ده كان برضو في البداية كان صعب بالنسبة لنا، لكن في النهاية تعاقلمنا معه وتولفنا عليه. وما في راجل في العالم كله ما في راجل في العالم كله بيقدر يثبت قدام الطيران ده. ما في. زمان الكلب اللي اسمه مني ده انتنوف واحدة بيجري منها 15 يوم، ما كان بينتظرها. وزي ما قلنا ما في راجل في الكون بينتظر براميل في أرض مكشوفة إلا نحن، براميل متفجرة سامة إلا نحن، وده قلادة شرف أي واحد.
Lastly, viewers, Ethio Telecom has extended the deadline for sale of its shares. I mentioned that in last night's live chat too, but what I have learned now is that Ethio Telecom has not been able to meet the target. In October, Ethio Telecom offered 10% of its shares, 100 million shares rather, with 300 birr price for one share to Ethiopians. The shares were offered on Talibar mobile application, and the last date for the purchase of shares was the 3rd of January 2025. 100 million shares could not be sold by Ethio Telecom. That is why the deadline has been now extended. Now, 14th of February is the last date for the sale of shares by Ethio Telecom. Ethio Telecom is likely to be listed at the new Ethiopian Stock Exchange as well. It's a profitable entity that is offering its shares for sales. Why is that people are showing less interest in buying Ethio Telecom shares? Firstly, I think it's a new territory, uncharted territory for Ethiopians. Obviously, they want to be sure that the investment will be safe. I see people's comments. They say that they ask questions that can they trust the government? Will their investment be safe? These are valid questions, keeping in view that there is no rule of law in the country. Government people, security forces do whatever they want to do. People's rights are being violated on daily basis. And secondly, I think economic hardships have hit people very badly in the last few months. Birr losing its value, inflation on the rise, prices of commodities rising, government raised fuel prices. People's purchasing power has been very adversely affected too. So these could be a few reasons behind people's less interest in buying Ethio Telecom shares. Let's see, will the company be able to sell all its 100 million shares by the 14th of February 2025? That remains to be seen. Thanks for watching.